Hey gang, alright, we are live. Alicia Cross here with Alicia Cross Training, and if you are new here, I am a wellness coach, a personal trainer, and a yoga instructor, and I have been working with clients just like you for over 18 years. Health, fitness, wellness, these are not my side hustle. I like to say that I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. So I am here to help you cut through the confusion out there, the fads, the myths, especially when it comes to diet and nutrition. And that ties perfectly into what we are talking about today, belly fat, giving you my best tips for belly fat. So if you are here with me live, say hi, give me a wave so I know you're here. And whether you are watching the replay or watching here live with me now, thank you for being here. Say hi, post a question anytime. I would love to chat more with you about this. Okay, so let's jump in, talking about belly fat. So this is a big issue that a lot of people have, and for two reasons, for health reasons and for aesthetics, for the way we look. So belly fat is the kind of fat that we want to avoid. So that's the visceral fat. And I was recently listening to an interview with a doctor, and he said the visceral fat, the belly fat, is so bad because that is more directly connected with your circulation, with your blood supply, than the subcutaneous fat that's all around your body. I'm having some coffee this morning, don't mind me. He actually said that his clients who have more of the subcutaneous fat, like if they have fat in their arms and their legs, they have better triglyceride levels than the people who are what we would call like skinny fat. So if you're kind of skinny but you have a lot of belly fat, they have worse health markers, higher blood triglycerides, because that belly fat is more tied into the to your circulation, to your blood supply. So that's actually dangerous. So being that quote-unquote skinny fat, that's really dangerous. You're having fat in other parts of your body, not as risky and as dangerous to your health as the belly fat. And two, aesthetics, we just don't like the way it looks. There's a lot of changes that happen throughout our lifespan with age and hormones that can definitely be making us gain more fat in that area, and that becomes harder to lose. And because it's such an issue and it's really hard to lose, there are a lot of fads and myths going on out there, but I want to give you, the real deal, the truth about what you need to do to work on this area. And I'm going to start with also some things that maybe they're not necessarily belly fat, but it's just the way you look, like you feel like you're, more bloated in that area. And then we'll drill down into the tips for the belly fat. Okay, so it could be, again, just the way you're looking. So maybe you have bloating, maybe you have belly bloating that's making your belly look bigger than you want it to. Take a look at the foods that you're eating. If there are particular foods that are bothering you, you need to leave those out. If it's something like gluten or dairy or some other food group that's bothering you, if you take it out and it helps and it improves, great, that's an issue for you. You can also look at the FODMAP diet. There's been a lot of talk about that lately. And I think that actually kind of ties into the Vata balancing diet. So Vata in Ayurveda is the dosha that's associated with air, wind. So this could be gas and bloating. So you could follow an anti-Vata diet, especially we're coming into the fall season, and that is the Vata season. So it's really important to avoid those foods that cause excess gas and bloating. So following an anti-Vata diet or a Vata calming diet. Or look into those FODMAPs, those foods that cause a lot of gas because of the fermenting, or just test for yourself. If there's a food that bothers you or a food group, take it out, see how you do. So some other things that could be making you look bigger in that area or bloated or just feeling bloated, water retention. So if you tend to retain a lot of water, definitely look at your salt intake, because salt will cause you to retain water. But the solution is not to drink less water. You actually want to drink more water. If you're not taking it in, your body won't let it go. My guideline is 100 ounces of water per day. Hi Allison, you gotta take it in order to let it go. So if you're feeling bloated, if you're feeling like you're holding on to water, don't limit your water. Do the opposite, drink more water and just watch your salt intake. Now, cleaning up your diet can also help if you are retaining a lot of water. So you often hear that when people go on diets and they lose a bunch of weight right away, people will say, well, a lot of that is water weight. If you're eating a lot of processed foods and carbohydrates and sugar and, again, really salty food, you will also be retaining water. So taking some of these processed foods out of your diet, if you're eating a lot of processed carbs, if you're eating out a lot and there's a lot of salt, a lot of things in there that you just don't know what you're getting. If you start to kind of clean up your diet and take those things out, you may let go of some water and not be retaining water as much. So that's an important place to look at as well. You could also be like just feeling, bloated or just looking bigger in that area if you have poor digestion. So one of the things that I can definitely say for myself affects the way I look and feel in my gut and my belly area is eating too close to going to bed, eating too close to bedtime. So you know that I do a smoothie at night before I go to bed on most days. Usually on the weekends, Robert and I will make dinner and we'll have dinner at night, and I'll just have my smoothie for lunch instead. But most days I'm having a smoothie at night before bed because I get home late. So after work or workout, I'm getting home at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I have my smoothie. So that's not very heavy. It's not hard to digest, and then I can, go to bed. But if I eat a big dinner really close to bed, I'm going to feel it the next day. So just physically, I'm going to feel it. I'm definitely going to look more bloated. And there is something to support this, both if we look from, science and if we look from the lens of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda tells us that we should have a light dinner no later than 7 p.m. And then in bed by 10, because our digestion slows as the days go on, as the day wears on. So our digestion is strongest at lunchtime. So that's when we have our biggest meal, or maybe even like having your biggest meal at breakfast, but we don't want to have that big meal at night and then go to bed because it's harder to digest. So your digestive system just slows down at night. Now, if we look at the lens from, if we look at it through the science lens, we can sort of see the same thing. So you probably know this from your own experience. If you eat late at night, lay down, you're going to have, heartburn or indigestion because, it's not a good combination to eat a lot and then go lay down. Also, if you heard me talk about time-restricted feeding or time-restricted eating, your body needs time to digest and process the food that you ate. So you got to give your digestive system, time off from eating food to digest and process the food. We all intermittent fast because we sleep at night and we don't eat while we're sleeping. And one of the best things you can do for your health is just to lengthen out that time that you spend not eating. So look at your last meal of the day and your first meal of the day. And I would say that if you are eating for more than 12 hours, so your time not eating is less than 12 hours, that's the first step, is balancing that out, 12 and 12. And you can definitely look online and do some research about people eating for, less hours. So eating over, 10 hours, 8 hours. Studies have shown that people can eat the same amount of food, eat the exact same foods, and if they just eat it over a smaller time span, they actually have better health markers, including weight. So this is something that you can look at if you're eating late at night, or if your time window of eating is greater than 12 hours. So definitely look at that. Giving some time to digest before you go to bed, and your heaviest meal is breakfast or lunch rather than dinner. So try that and see how you look and feel in your belly area. Also, you can have poor digestion if you are constipated. So if you're not getting enough fiber and water in your diet, you're going to be constipated, and that is going to show. I again come back to that 100 ounces of water a day. If you're not taking 100 ounces of water, I'm pretty sure that your digestive system is just not working the way that it should. And if you're not eating enough fiber, so 30 to 40 grams of fiber I recommend, and that should be from foods that naturally have fiber, not eating a bunch of bars and crap that's fortified with fiber. So eating vegetables first and foremost, whole grains, fruits, nuts, seeds, all these things naturally have fiber. So that's where you want to get your fiber from. And if you're eating, if you're preparing food for yourself, you're going to be getting that. If you're eating a lot of processed food, you're not going to be getting that fiber. So making sure you're getting enough fiber and water so your digestive system is working well, so you look and feel great in that area. That can make a huge difference. Your digestion also may not be awesome if you have stress. This is an effect of stress. Stress shuts down your digestive system. So if you're in a state of stress, your body is putting all those kind of quote unquote unnecessary processes on the back burner, and it considers digestion one of them if you are running for your life. So it's going to shut down your digestive system. The cranial nerve that connects to your digestive system is the vagus nerve. Vagus means the wanderer. It's called that because it is the longest reaching cranial nerve, right? Most of the cranial nerves are in your face. The vagus nerve goes all the way down to your digestive system. So the vagus nerve is the nerve of rest and digest of your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the opposite of fight or flight. That's why we call that rest and digest. If you are not in a state of stress, your digestive system is working. Rest and digest. You want that system to be strong. So things that massage and strengthen that vagus nerve are deep belly breathing, going to yoga. Those things strengthen that vagus nerve so that your digestive system comes back online and is working better and you feel great. Your health improves, the way you look improves. So managing your stress is one of the ways that you can help to improve your digestive system so that your belly looks and feels good. And then that segues beautifully into the next thing I want to talk about, which is stress. Because stress, the stress hormone, aka cortisol, which I just want to say right now, stress is not a bad thing. Cortisol is not a bad thing. It's just when we have chronic stress, those prolonged periods of high stress, if we just can't get off that ride where we have this constant like low level inflammation, that is the problem. If you didn't have cortisol, you'd have a problem. You wouldn't be able to get up in the morning, and you need some level of stress. You couldn't learn if you didn't have stress. Your body would not become more resilient. Your nervous system wouldn't be resilient if you weren't giving it a little bit of stress via working out. You wouldn't be able to cope with the stressors of life. So I don't want to give stress and cortisol a bad rep. It's just when you have that chronic stress, that is where we see the problem. So cortisol, stress, one of the things that they will do is make you have more belly fat. So if you are managing your stress, that can absolutely help with getting rid of that visceral fat. And remember, I already talked about that. The visceral fat is so much more dangerous to your health than the subcutaneous fat that's in the rest of your body. And this is the thing you may be dealing with. If your life is stressful, if you're not managing your stress, you could be having increased belly fat. And this is super important to keep in mind. If you have this belly fat and you're like, okay, what do I do about it? Well, I'm going to go run and I'm going to take these high intensity bootcamp classes, and then I'm going to stay late at the gym and do the elliptical. Exercise is stress. And if you are already stressed out, your life, your work, and you're not managing that with things like deep breathing and yoga and meditation, and then you go ask your body to, fight for its life basically by running and doing these intense boot camp classes, you're just throwing more gas on the fire, and that could contribute to more belly fat. So especially women over 40, I don't want you going to these high intensity boot camp classes or going running if you're not already doing all of the other things. So I don't want these high intensity classes to be your go-to when you're working on belly fat, because that's just going to add to it. So I want you to be lifting weights. That weight training session should last no more than 45 to 60 minutes, again, so you're not getting into a really high stress situation. So 45, 60 minutes, no more than that, strength training, because that's not going to have the same result. It's not going to have the same effect as a high intensity boot camp class on your nervous system. And then remember, lifting weights, build more lean muscle, burn more calories all day long, and that is not going to happen when you are running or getting on the elliptical. Cardio is good, we do need that, but it's not going to have those long-term effects that help you to burn more calories all day long. Okay, so I want you lifting weights, 45, 60 minutes, no longer than that. Going for walks. So walking that's your steady state cardio. You need that. So go for a long walk. And hey, if you're walking and you're out in nature, double bonus. So that is absolutely going to help you to manage and reduce your stress. And then you got to be going to yoga. So yoga always comes back into the picture to help us with our goals in some way, because for most of our goals we need to limit stress and we need to sleep more, to get healthier, to look the way we want to look, to feel the way we want to feel, and yoga is a really great way to get there. So if you have belly fat, and especially if you're a woman over 40 and you have stress in your life, I want you to start with lifting weights, walking, going to yoga before you jump into, I got to take the most intense class, I got to start running. Those are rough on your body and your nervous system. And then another great exercise routine that you can add to your workouts is Pilates. So Pilates, again, is going to be training for your core, not as intense as, say, going to a boot camp class, but this is really going to work on your core muscles and your posture. Because one of the things that could be happening is if you just have really poor posture. So if you're slumping and rounding forward, of course it's going to make your belly look bigger. So if you can work those muscles of posture that, as I sit here slumping, hold you up a little taller, a little straighter, it's like those tricks of before and after pictures, right? Of slumping or standing up straight, like you instantly look 5 pounds lighter, and guess where that shows? In your belly. And Pilates works your core muscles. So not only your rectus abdominis, your six-pack muscles in the front, also your obliques on the side that carve out your waistline, give you that shape, and your deep transverse abdominis, which wraps all the way around like a girdle. And what I think is really cool about the abs is the way they are. If you think about that shape, that hourglass shape of the, the obliques coming in on the side, the deep transverse abdominis wrapping around the center, like that's the most healthy and supportive place for our abs, but it's also the thing that makes us look good. So if we worry more about getting healthy, the look, the appearance, the aesthetics will come with it. So working out, including Pilates in your regimen, will absolutely help you. What else do I want to say about Pilates? I think that's it. Oh, one other thing I want to say about Pilates. So there is no lower abs. So you may hear an instructor make reference to working that area or working your low belly, but there are no lower abs. So you don't need to work your lower abs. You're training your abdominals, your core muscles, which include your back and your glutes, in a Pilates class. So you're getting all of that. So that's why I really like Pilates rather than falling for this. You got to work your lower abs. There are no lower abs. And then that brings me into some other myths related to exercise. Just as far as working your lower abs, that's not a thing. Spot training in general. So there is no such thing as spot training. You cannot work an area to burn off the fat. That is not how energy systems work. So if I'm working my core, I'm not pulling the energy from the fat that's on my belly. That's not how it works. You can specifically target muscles in an area. So if you want to, have bigger biceps, you can work your biceps. If you want to have bigger glutes, you can work your glutes. But you can't fat train away an area with an exercise. That's not how it works. So again, don't fall for those, this works your lower abs, or this exercise gets rid of belly fat. Clickbait, don't click on it. So instead, just focus on training your core as a whole in Pilates. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. So spot training, lower abs, and Pilates. Okay, I think that was it. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say. Nope. Okay. So now the most important part, the part you've been waiting for, the most important thing that you can do for belly fat is diet. Diet, 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 and diet. If you are looking to lose weight or to lose fat, you have to look at what you are eating. And diet, remember, I don't use diet in the word as going on a diet. I use diet in we all have a diet, the way that we eat. And I do not like this idea of eat less, move more, because some of you are not eating enough calories, and then your under eating is just as bad as overeating. You are messing with your metabolism, you're messing with your stress and your cortisol and your hormones, and not only cortisol when I say hormones, but leptin and ghrelin. So ghrelin tells you that you're hungry, leptin tells you that you're full. If you are messing with those hormones by not eating well and nourishing your body and eating regularly, then that is just throwing off this whole balance. It's not about eating less. It's about nourishing your body and being able to effectively burn calories all day long. There's a lot that plays into that. So most important thing, diet. One of the tips I already talked about is maybe not eating your biggest meal at night, and definitely not eating really close to bedtime. So you have all the rest of the day to make sure that you're getting all of your macronutrients that you need. So you need to make sure that you're getting enough protein. Eating protein absolutely supports losing weight, especially losing body fat. That's important to differentiate. And you can eat up to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or per pound of desired body weight. And I want that to sound like a lot to you. I want that to sound overwhelming because you're probably not going to hit it, but I just want you to know that you're probably not getting enough protein to support your goals. So look at the weight that you are, the weight that you want to be, and then look and see how much, hi Susie, look and see how much protein you're eating and fill in that gap between what you're eating and what that 1 gram of protein is per pound of desired body weight. I had a wellness coaching client who, within a week or two, she made some of these suggestions that I made. She implemented some of these suggestions that I gave her, including increasing protein, and I think she dropped about 5 pounds in 2 weeks. And she was already eating very healthy. She just needed to get some more protein into her diet. So if you really make that commitment, and not just on some days, that's the thing with our diet. It needs to be consistent meal times and eating consistently every day. Maybe you eat a little bit more on the days that you are working out more intensely. If you're lifting weights 3 days a week, those days you may eat a little bit more. But pretty much you want everything consistent. It can't be, well, some days I eat eggs for breakfast, but other days, I just have a piece of toast. You've got to have that consistency every day, getting in the protein, healthy fats, 100%, getting in those healthy fats, and carbohydrates, unprocessed carbohydrates. The most carbs are around your workout. So remember, that's why you will eat more on the days that you work out, because you're fueling yourself for your workout. And then just like when you come back from a road trip, you got to fill up your gas tank. So when you come back from your workout, you got to have that post-workout meal, and that's going to have a little bit more carbohydrates. And that is why you'll eat a little bit more calories on the day that you are working out. So diet, consistency, making sure that you're eating in a way that supports losing weight and losing body fat. And this is why I suggest to my clients that we check body fat once a month. And I just kind of added the caveat that if you are losing weight, or if there are some noticeable changes in the way that your clothes are fitting. Because if you are losing weight, we want to make sure, again, that you're losing body fat, not lean muscle. So that's why we check the body fat percentage monthly. But if you're not losing weight, don't expect to have changes in your body fat percentage unless you're really doing something like really lifting heavy weights. But if it's just your regular workout routine, then yeah, don't expect any big changes on the body fat unless you are losing weight. Also, we talked about the waist. So for my assessments, we do the waist to hip ratio. So we measure your waist just above your belly button, hips, the largest part of your hips, and then we look at that ratio. And if your waist is too close to the size of your hips or bigger than your hips, that's when you have increased risk for health issues. So waist to hip ratio is something that we can check in an assessment, or you can grab a tape measure and check it on yourself. And you can just easily search that online, and you'll see where to take those measurements and how to do the calculation, and then where you fit in on the chart that tells you if you have low, high, or moderate risk for health issues. And I think that's all I wanted to tell you about that. Okay, so just reviewing, if you have belly fat, you don't like the way you look in that area, so the things that you want to look at are you just bloated? Are there things in your diet that are causing you bloating? Are you retaining water? Things you can do to help with that: watch your salt, drink more water, clean up your diet, getting rid of those processed foods, not eating out where the food is full of salt. Do you have poor digestion because maybe you're eating too late at night before bed? Are you constipated because you're not getting enough fiber and water? And how about stress? Stress shuts down the digestive system. Stress contributes to belly fat. So doing things that manage your stress, like yoga, meditation, so you can improve your digestion and help to get rid of that belly fat. And then exercising, not these intense workouts that contribute to stress and cortisol, instead prioritizing lifting weights, going for walks, doing yoga, especially if you're a woman over 40 with body fat. And then another routine that you can incorporate is Pilates. That is great for core training, which will help with your posture. Again, I'll sit up straighter, which makes you look a little leaner in the center, and trains those core muscles so that they look the way you want them to look, that hourglass shape. Pilates is really good for that. And then also for exercise, just make sure you're not falling for any of those myths. There's no spot training. There's no lower abs. And then the most important thing is diet, so eating in a way that supports fat loss if that is what you need, and then not falling, of course, for those diet myths. So if there is something else out there that you've heard works for belly fat and I haven't mentioned it here, there is a reason. So stick to the basics, and if you have a question for me, post it here. I'd love to chat more with you about this. And if you have a topic, an idea, or a question for an upcoming video, post it here or send me a message anytime. I go live here every week, so I will see you again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you for watching, Susie and Allison. Thank you.